Everyone around you is celebrating, laughing, hugging, screaming at the sky. The countdown hits 0. Fireworks explode. And inside you, nothing. No sadness, no excitement, no relief. Just a hollow silence where a moment is supposed to land. If you've ever felt that, this video isn't about New Year's Eve. It's about how your brain learned to stop reacting to life itself. Psychology has a name for this. Neuroscience has a mechanism for it. And once you understand it, one truth becomes impossible to escape. Feeling nothing isn't a flaw. It's a survival strategy. But survival was never meant to be permanent. And if you don't interrupt it, it quietly becomes who you are. It's 11:58 p.m. You're on your phone, not because you care, but because it gives your hands something to do. The countdown starts. You look up. People are yelling, crying, kissing, promising change they'll forget in weeks. You don't feel disconnected from them. You feel disconnected from your own awareness. And the most unsettling part, you can't remember the last time you felt fully present anywhere. Psychologists call this emotional numbing, but that name is misleading. This isn't weakness. This is your nervous system doing its job too efficiently. After enough disappointment, enough pressure, enough emotional overload, your brain makes a cold, protective decision. Turn the volume down. Pain fades, but joy fades at the exact same rate. You don't feel broken. You feel muted. Now add modern life. Your brain never rests. Infinite scrolling, instant gratification, endless novelty. Dopamine never resets. So when a meaningful moment arrives, a symbolic reset like a new year, your nervous system barely reacts. Emotion requires a contrast. When everything feels intense, nothing feels important. But here's the truth most people miss. Overstimulation didn't cause the numbness. It just made it easier to ignore what was already there. At some point, your brain stopped believing in milestones. You've hoped before, promised yourself change before, watched years flip without anything flipping inside you. Eventually, your mind reaches a blithesome conclusion. Time passing doesn't equal progress. This is existential fatigue. Not despair, not hopelessness, just exhaustion for caring and being disappointed too many times. This is how joy disappears without warning. First, social events feel flat. Then hobbies lose their pull. Then even the things that once lit you up feel neutral. Psychology calls this anhedonia. It doesn't announce itself. It slowly drains color from your life until years pass and you realize nothing has felt vivid in a long time. So you try again. This year will be different. It isn't. You try once more. Same result. Your brain learns something dangerous. Effort doesn't change outcomes. This is learned helplessness. And once your nervous system accepts that belief, motivation collapses. Emotion collapses with it. Why feel anything if nothing responds? That's why you weren't present at midnight. You weren't empty. You were absent. Your body was there. Your mind wasn't. Psychologists call this dissociation. Life stops happening to you and starts happening around you. You exist, but you're no longer participating. Sometimes numbness and emptiness. It's grief that never had space to be felt. Loss you moved past too quickly. Dreams you never mourned. When emotions feel overwhelming, the brain shuts everything down. Never that you don't care, because caring would hurt more than you can handle in the time. Grief doesn't always cry. Sometimes it goes silent. Humans don't survive on happiness. They survive on meaning. When your life stops feeling like a story, when nothing connects, nothing builds, nothing leads anywhere, emotion loses its anchor. This is narrative collapse. New Year's Eve feels pointless when your life doesn't feel like it's moving forward. Then comes comparison. Engagements, success stories, and glow-ups. And your nervous system reads this as threat. Instead of celebration, you feel behind. And joy becomes impossible when your brain believes you're losing a race you ever agreed to run. For some people, numbness is protection from closeness. Intimacy feels unsafe, but vulnerability feels exposed. So when connection deepest, your system shuts down. Not because you're cold, because closeness once came with pain. Here's the truth most people avoid. What you call not carry is often hypoxia depression. You show up, you perform, you smile, but inside, there's quiet. Nearly half of people with depression report numbness, not sadness, as the main symptom. That's why it hides, why it lasts. You made it to this layer of all. You still believing you change. Psychologists call this identity of falseness. When the future feels closed, when explanation correct,
Why celebrate a new year if you believe this is all life will ever be? Every pattern we talked about has one thing in common. Your brain is trying to protect you from disappointment and pain and hope to let out again. But protection always comes with a cost. You cannot selectively have emotion. When you don't know, you have joy. When you are disappointed, then happiness. You know nothing takes control. It's expensive. And real life is. Why do I not feel anything that I know? Then, when emotion by the side must be successfully feel from my imagination. And this year's a priority. Stop telling me don't deprive us. You're surviving. And survival is not way. One hour of video, one and 10 minutes for my hands. And I'm not hurt. The right has a healthy health and it's behind it. And the company is something that responds to the global sense. And because the love is fairly